we're here today on the shoulder pad with a very, very special friend of mine, a young man that I can call him a young man because I'm much older than he is. But I am so honored to have Frank Sanders here on the shoulder pad today. We're going to talk about his life, going to talk about some things that he's doing, and I'm just so honored to have you here, man. I want to read some of your bio, so the people that are watching will be able to have an understanding of who you are. But a wide receiver, number 81, born in February 17, 1973. Yeah, over in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Frank is at says 6'2", 215. Are you still that now?
I love Popeyes too much. I'm sorry, sir. No, sir.
That's okay, man. One of those great athletes that came out of Dillard High School, man. There was a whole crop of y'all came out at the same time, and
Yeah.
basically all of you guys came to Auburn, but came to Auburn and had a great career at Auburn. I could go over all your accolades, man, but I think you led the team in receptions at the time when you came out, man. You guys were throwing the ball all over the place and just had just a prolific career. Actually ended up being nominated for the SEC historians and all of the guys, the legacy guys, and then went on to get drafted in the second round to the was it Baltimore?
No, the Arizona Cardinals for
It was Arizona.
Arizona
Okay,
Cardinals. Then I went to Arizona
yeah,
Cardinals,
yeah.
bro.
Arizona Cardinals from 1995 to 2002. Then you went
Yep.
on to the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, you were first team All American coming out of college, first team All SEC, SEC football legends. You had in a career in the NFL 507 receptions. Receiving yards was 6,749, and then receiving touchdowns was 24. Brother, I'm gonna tell you what, that's a great body of work right there, man. That was not in the little, huh?
No, we were trying to put it together, man. We had I did what I could with what we had, and we were my look. Let's just start here first, Byron, man. Just a pleasure to be on your show with you, brother. You have been iconic in my life, man. Just as Dale Overton and Pedro Cherry and Herb the Wep, man. You guys were the bona fide guys. Of course, Lawyer Tillman was
Yeah,
the legendary guys that came through Auburn. That kind of was the iconic guys I want to chase after.
yeah,
And of course, you come along when they was running the ball most of the time. I just happened to get there with Terry Bowden and Tommy Bowden, who decided to open up the offense.
yeah.
That gave me a chance to catch maybe a couple more balls than you guys, and try to take advantage of that when I was at Auburn. But it's a pleasure to be on your show and to have me. Look, to be looking at you is and to be looking at you is just like looking at Michael Jordan for a lot of the guys that play basketball, because I know what Auburn meant to me, and to watch the guys that came before me is definitely an honor.
Well, you did an awesome job, man. And I tell you what, every time I do these, I always find out something I did not know about the guys. I figure I know most of the things about their career, but looking through your bio, man, you were drafted in baseball.
Yeah, yeah. Got drafted by the Houston Oilers out of high school. Not Houston Oilers, but the Houston Astros out of high school.
Yeah,
And my mom said, Frank, if they want you now, they want you later. But the
yeah,
blessing of all of that was Coach Dye was the only one out of all the coaches and the schools I had visited that would have given me the opportunity.
play
Coach Dye
baseball.
said, well, hell, Coach Dye with the slow voice said, well, I know how to handle football players and baseball players at the same time. I had a couple of them that did that with me. So
That's right.
if you come to Auburn, you gotta earn your scholarship as a receiver first.
Yeah,
But once you do that, you get a chance to go play baseball. And unfortunately, I lost Coach Dye.
yeah,
After our sophomore year,
yeah,
and Terry Bowden came in after we went 11-0. Byron, he said, I went to him. I said, "Hey, Coach Dye said if I earn my scholarship as a wide receiver, can I go play baseball?"
yeah,
He said, "Well, Frankie, you can go play, but
yeah,
you better be a starter. And if you're not a starter, you're coming back to spring practice." And so, Coach Hal Barrett, man, thank you for those guys. Steve Renfro at the baseball team,
yeah.
John Powell, and all those guys that invited me in, allowed me in the baseball team. It worked out, and then we're going to run in baseball and go to the College World Series, and then the Seattle Mariners end up drafting you boy again before I get a chance to go to the NFL.
That's right. That's amazing, man. It just proves that timing is everything. And
Yes.
and relationships and connections are really, really important, man. And the one thing I can say about you is you never burned bridges. You always had a great attitude, man. You went out and worked hard. And I always say this about you. I said when I first saw you, man, I would be out there on the field. I said, man, that's saying. I told you. I don't know if you remember this, but I told you. I said, man, you're gonna make it to the league one day. And I said, when you make
Yeah.
it to the league, you're gonna go out. I want you to go out and buy you a nice Mercedes, and I want you to put on the back of that thing on the tag, Sandman. You remember I told you that?
You did, brother.
I don't know if you ever did it, but I'm the one that told you to do it, man. I said,
Uh, my wife at the time, she got the Mercedes. I didn't get, I was too big for the Mercedes, so I didn't get the Mercedes. But look, the name stuck with me, bro. Sandman has stuck with me for a long, long, long time, and it has not. I have never let go of that name. It's one of those things. Terry, when Tommy Bowden was the wide receiver coach, and he gave us all a bunch of names. I was Sandman, Hollywood, Terry. We all guys had Sticks, Bones, and
yeah.
we had some guys that had some funny names, but didn't get a chance to put Sandman on the tag. But it's definitely stuck with.
Well, you can still do it. That'll come up a little later if you want to. Well, look, I want to ask you a couple of questions, man. I
Okay.
the purpose of me doing this is doing my career, making the transition out of football and going into real life, man. I think one of the greatest challenges that I've had in my life is making the transition from doing what we do all of our lives and then transitioning out and moving out into the real world and having to make that transition emotionally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and all those things. And so I recognize what a hard challenge it has been for a lot of guys like you and me. A lot of us don't make this transition very well. And so I came up with the idea of having these interviews to talk a little bit about each person's transition, whether it be emotional, mental, where were your challenges, and talk a little bit about how you got through them, and then move on from there. So I wanna do this. I want to ask you a question. Uh, the number one question I want to ask you is, how did you, when did you know it was time for you to hang it up?
Oh, that hamstring. B, B, that hamstring said, yeah, that's it.
Wide
That right.
receivers can't run without those, can they?
That hamstring said that was it. If I
Yeah,
had my right hamstring had a little knot in there,
yeah,
and it was one of those things where I either had to pop it to
yeah,
surgically repair it, or just accept that that was kind of the space I was in, and there was nothing else I could do. The Cardinals were great for a long time,
yeah,
and then I went to the Ravens, and everything was good there. But I got a chance to go play for Tampa Bay. I didn't go play. I went and worked out for Tampa Bay,
yeah,
and I still had that same little knot in my hamstring. And I said to myself, "This is about a time where I get to make a decision where I can go somewhere and possibly,
push through it.
be a well, push through it and be a lame duck if it pops,
Yeah,
and then or I can just make a good decision."
yeah,
My life was in a good spot. My wife was me and my girls. I had two daughters at the time. Everything was in a good spot, and so I felt like at the time of the game, the quarterback situation was just as important to me. When I went to Tampa, they had just drafted Chris Sims.
yeah.
I had look, being honest, I had Jake Plummer for 5 years. We raised him for 3. In
Yeah,
his third year, he really hit his point, and that's the year I led the league in receptions.
that's right.
And then the following, when I left the Cardinals, I went to the Ravens.
Yeah,
And instead of having a veteran quarterback, I had Kyle Bowler out of University of Cal, and it just felt like here I am with young quarterbacks again. Baby quarterbacks with veteran receivers is a hard day at work.
hard thing, man.
It's
Yeah,
a hard day at work. So I went to Tampa and had a workout. Everything was great. Uh, they was ready to sign me. John Gruden was ready to sign me. But once I knew Chris Sim was on the table, I
yeah,
felt like I'd be doing a lot more work than I wanted to,
yeah,
trying to prove and get timing with him.
yeah,
The wisdom in the decision was I didn't want to raise another baby quarterback, and my
yeah.
family life was in a good spot, and so I just thought it was the best time.
Boy, that's a great point, man. You got to a place to where you felt like it was time to make a decision based on your family,
Yep.
and then what year was that for you? That was year what?
That'd have been year 9 and
Oh,
moving into year 10,
oh,
going over to Tampa. But that'd have been 2000, 2004, 2005. Respectfully, Tampa won the Super Bowl,
yeah,
which I had to make a decision. You gotta look back and be like, was that a good decision or not?
missed that one, huh? But
I missed that one, brother.
after 9 years though, man,
Yeah,
it's not a that's not really a dramatic miss because you have
right.
had a career. You know what I'm saying? It would be
Yeah, I
different
do. I do.
if you making that decision on the front end and you missed out on that ride and moved off to another team or something and you missed out because you don't get Super Bowl opportunities very many times when you're playing in the league.
Now
So
you don't. You really don't. But the reality is that you don't get to pick your quarterbacks.
yeah,
And sometimes you do, and that's a blessing if you're in that space and place as a free agent, or they bring somebody that really knows how to just be a great quarterback, and
yeah.
the system has to fit you.
Oh man,
In year 9, you want things to work.
it's got to be
In your
it's got to be
yeah,
tailored. It's got to
it
be
has to
tailored.
be. It needs to work in your favor, whether the organization will allow you to, or allow you to, you know,
Make
not
it
work
fit.
as hard.
Yeah.
They take care of you. What we call it. They take care of you where you don't have to work like you was a rookie again.
Yeah.
And I felt like I would have got that at Tampa,
Yeah.
but just dealing with a baby quarterback again just felt like I wasn't there. And the funny thing about that, he wasn't even a starter.
Right.
He didn't become the starter of the team. The quarterback that won it with them was totally different. He was a veteran, and they picked the veteran up after I made my decision. So once that
Wow.
decision was sound, I made that decision. It was a good decision at the end of the day.
Well, I can respect that, man, for you. I said timing is everything.
Yep.
This is an example of timing being everything. I'm in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I go in 81, and the USFL comes out in 83. Okay.
Okay.
The USFL comes out in and Buffalo drafts Jim Kelly in 82, in 83. He chooses to go to the Houston Gamblers. So I'm at Buffalo with Joe Ferguson and then a host of a bunch of other quarterbacks in '84,
Mm-hmm.
and then I lead the team in receiving in '84, but get traded to Seattle in '85. Okay, watch this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kelly leaves Houston Gamblers and goes to Buffalo. When he
That's.
goes to Buffalo, Andre Reed ends up in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, like,
so timing is everything, brother.
man, look.
I
I
tell
tell
him
him.
all, huh?
Go ahead.
I tell Andre Andre's been on the show, and I told Andre, I said, "Now, Andre, that's my yellow jacket you wearing, right?"
Right. Right. Look,
Because
I
yeah,
I saw Andre out here a couple of times, man, at some golf events, and he allowed me to see I saw his jacket. He
yeah,
allowed me to see his ring and the things that
exactly.
he's been presented with. And
Yeah,
he said, Frank, let me just say this here, man. You're one of the best receivers in the league.
yeah.
You just wasn't at the right spot at the right time, and he was absolutely right.
And that's what I'm saying, man. All I had to do was be in Buffalo when Kelly got there, and
Mm-hmm.
it would have been, man. I mean, it would have just been tailor made. So Andre comes in, and they trade me and keep him, and he starts in that flanker position, and the rest is history. But it's all really about
Yeah.
time, man. And so I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this question. How challenging was it for you? And tell me about the challenge of making it. You made the decision. Now, I do have to give us this kind of a note right here.
Mm-hmm.
You guys made a whole lot more money than we did. So I think some of that was easier for your transition if you did anything with your money. It made it a
Yeah.
little easier, but still, it's bigger than money. It's more having to start a whole nother life, man.
Yeah, it
And,
is.
and so tell me about that part.
Look, to any parent out there with your child, and this could be from high school into college, from college to the pros, and you could be a stud, a 5-star in high school, then get to college and things change, coaches change, injuries happen, and then he has to make a decision. What will be the next move? Will it be the degree that he gets, or will it be come back home? It's the same thing. The transition is absolutely the same across the board and how it feels
Yeah,
because you've been doing something that you love and you feel like this is what God has called you to do for her, as long as you can do it.
that's it.
The next phase is you always talk about the part of transitioning, but there is nothing like the feeling when you're doing what you love to do
And it stops.
and it stops. And so transitioning from football, um, it's always different. You know, you look at your family and you say, okay, now I got to move into the family version of it. But
Yeah.
then you have to make decisions on, what are you doing education wise, if you're going to continue your education, or you found a job and a gig that's something, you're doing. There is nothing. There is nothing. There is no feeling. I mean, there is nothing like a Sunday at Auburn and catching a touchdown in the back part of the end zone to beat Alabama. There is no feeling. There is no putt. Your baby being born, there is nothing that compares to it. You just have to accept the fact that this is a new phase in life,
Yeah.
and you try to gather all those wins that matter, that make those moments. But it's nothing like
No,
the NFL and nothing like
no.
playing and doing the things you love. You know what I miss most, B? And you
What's
probably
that?
say the same thing.
What's that?
It's break. It's running a route
Yeah.
and watching the ball in the air, whether you're running a crossing route, a slant route, or that's my mastery. I
Yeah.
don't throw the ball to me. I just run the route, and then if the ball's in the air, I get to stick my hands out and catch it. Breaking down a cover two or a cover three or a cover one and smacking the DB and letting him know that you just did that to him. There
It,
is nothing
it's
in that
nowhere you can
transitional
find that.
phase.
No,
There
no
is
way,
nothing.
nowhere in life
There is nothing.
that duplicates that, man. Let me tell you mine, man. Mine is, because I was a speed guy,
Yeah.
mine is the thing that really sticks out to me that I miss. Let me tell you what I miss, man. I used to run by guys, and
Yes.
they used to think that they were safe even in a 7 or 8 yards cushion. They thought they were
Yes,
safe,
sir.
and I just 3 steps I was on them, and three more I'm gone. And they
Bah.
turn and they're chasing. Okay, right there at that moment, I can hear the crowd. you,
I know.
you
That's
can
that.
hear
And it's
them,
the build up.
but
Ooh.
yeah, 'cause
It's
they
it.
see it. See, they see I'm open, and they see the ball in the air, and you can hear that, man. You can hear that stuff, and there ain't nowhere in the world you can go, Frank,
Nothing.
and get
Nothing.
that same environment, man. And so,
Yeah.
but it's not just it's so much, man. The locker room and just the camaraderie with the guys and all of that, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, that part I know you missed, but are there any other things that really stick out to you about making that transition a little more challenging?
You know what, man? Just there's a part of trust.
Yeah,
It's trust.
yeah,
That becomes a bigger picture because then you got to start trusting your elements,
yeah,
trusting your friends,
yeah,
trusting your advisors,
yeah,
trusting how, what they told you when you was in the game,
yeah.
that how you save money, how you put money away.
Oof.
Then you really start looking at some documentations that says you was charging me $570 to book a flight.
Mm,
Really?
mm,
Like you charging me to book a flight when my mom or my dad or my wife could have been booking my flights.
right.
That's what you really start paying attention to different sides of the business. The transition from that becomes, you become a banker, man, a lot of times when you come into money from the NFL perspective, because you're just a child. Then
Yeah,
you're 22, 21, you get an NFL contract.
yeah.
You have to figure out how to be a banker, a financier, which you've never went to. If you didn't go to school for it, and I went to school for psychology,
Yeah,
all I can tell them is I can listen. I got good ears to listen to your
yeah.
problems, but
But handling my money is a different story.
I, I don't know how to solve them financially.
I got
If
you.
you if you put your money in the S&P, I couldn't tell them that because it just didn't matter. But
No
the
clue.
transition part of the game, honestly, man, is just figuring out how to be a better version of a person. The
Wow.
NFL, how do you maximize the game?
Yeah.
How do you maximize all of the lives you've been able to touch? Did you
Yeah.
create yourself and put yourself in the best position
Yeah.
financially,
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally? And it just takes time. Honestly, it just takes time.
That is
And
so
there's nothing you can do to, emotionally to eradicate what the feeling of what it feels like to be in a locker room, to
Yeah.
be amongst men, to
Yeah.
be in that moment, to be doing something you felt like God has blessed you with,
Yeah.
to be in those environments
Yeah.
and to be coached and to become a coach to a lot of players.
Yeah.
There's nothing, man. It just takes time and patience, and hopefully you have the discipline not to go out in these streets or do stupid stuff or mess your name up
Yeah.
or make bad decisions that will cause you to lose the notoriety of the blessings that you've been able to have. And
Yeah.
so the transition is a transition, and the timing of the transition that we talked about, it
Yeah.
just takes time.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no way to rush time. Time is on its own schedule.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Well, tell me about your family.
Look, I got three beautiful girls. I got two at ASU. That's Arizona State University. Anaya, Elena, and Ava. So I go by A1, A2, A3. A1's gonna graduate. She's gonna graduate this May,
Wow.
Byron, which is gonna be good because I'm gonna get her off the books. But A3, she graduates in May, so she's gonna be back on the books. So
I got you. You swapping
I got
out.
I'm trading out, brother. I got two in college right now, and I got one getting ready to finish high school. It's
Yeah.
been a blessing, man. Having girls is pretty amazing. You know what's funny about that? You know, as a football player, as a man, you always think you need a son.
Yeah.
I never asked God for a son. I
Yeah.
said, God, you know who needs to be here.
Yeah.
Just prepare me for them so I can help
Right.
them, lead them toward their purpose. And I got three girls right now, and one's going to
Girl, man.
graduate in education. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. One's going to graduate in education. A1's graduating in education.
Right.
A2 should be graduating in communication and poli-sci as well. And then we'll see what A3 wants to do when she gets to college.
I got you, man. I got you. That's awesome, man. So you're a girl dad all the way.
All the way, brother. And I can't express it. There's some changes. So like 15 years ago, I got divorced.
Yeah.
When I left the NFL, I was probably about 5 years out.
Yeah.
And the transition was different for my wife. And
Yeah.
again, it's not just the players.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's the wives that have to make that adjustment too. They're not playing, but it's an adjustment.
They got to
And
make
the NFL is an adjustment across the board, financially, socially, emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah.
If your wife was an athlete, then she understands athletic situations.
Yeah.
But there's a major change when you get to that next phase. And again, we talk about like the NFL is a long ways away. The kids right now deal with that same thing through the NIL portals and the programs because there's finances on the table.
Yeah.
There's a social media outlet and the lifestyle that they got to deal with.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that just, it almost is a semi NFL.
It is.
But it comes with the fame, the finances, and all the challenge of it, all the temptations,
Yeah.
all the problems with family that you got to deal with that comes with money
Yeah.
problems. And so, but I was divorced. I've been divorced 15 years, and I'm okay with that because I had to make a good decision
Yeah.
that benefited the situation at the time.
Yeah.
But my girls and me, we're good. My ex-wife, we're good on those conversations. But
Yeah.
it's just a process, and it's all a process of the transition of learning and growing through it. So, and no one's alienated from it. No judge, no military person, no
Nope.
firefighter who's out there putting their lives on the line. No man of God who's a pastor in the church and things are going on and
Nope.
things are happening. No one's alienated from those situations. You just got to become better. Still find a way to be the best person you can be to the situation,
Yeah.
and still walk in faith and believe God that He'll allow all things to work together for your good.
Well, you know, I don't know if you know this, but I've been a pastor for 21 years.
Don't I know? I listen in, player.
Yeah. I've been a pastor for 20 years. You're so right, man. Nobody gets a pass on making decisions in life, man. Nobody gets a pass. And you know, I just you're so right about the fact that it's everybody, even the kids,
Yes,
everybody
sir.
has to make that
Yes,
transition,
sir.
man. So it's an
Yes, sir.
emotional, psychological, a mental transition for anybody and everybody that's been a part of it from the front end. And then the other part of it is, you're so right. It's everybody. And the real reason I'm
Everybody.
doing this, I'm doing it for football players, but I'm also doing it for everybody, man, because the guy that worked on the railroad for 20 years, you know,
Yep.
he's got to make that transition. The guy that was in the military for 25 years, he's got to make that transition. The guy that was a banker, or everybody has to make a decision about a transition in their life. And it's not an easy thing to do unless you really prepare yourself
Yeah.
And for me spiritually, it was if it had not been for my relationship with the Lord and God, man, I never would have made it. And so
Yeah. No.
still doing that, still making
No.
changes
Yeah.
and learning. So man, I just applaud you, brother. I'm gonna play golf with you, but you're gonna have to give me some strokes.
You can get as many. Look, you can
Hey,
get as many as you need, as many as you want. This game is Look, this is the funny thing about golf, right? I fell in love. God, I was back in Birmingham, Byron and we were at the house, and everything was good. I was just being a girl dad, get up in the morning, take my girls to school, get them, come back upstairs, ask the wife at the time, is there anything you want to do? And she said, no, we're good. I said, okay, cool, no problem. Then I tried to become a country boy. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but I was living in Birmingham at the time. And I had a house that had some acreage, and I was like, well, this is the country. I don't know what to do with the country, but I figured out. So I went and got a deer stand. Yes, I
okay,
went and got a deer. I
I
went and
got
got a
you.
deer stand. I had those screw-in spikes, man, up for you can climb up the tree and set it up there. I got a bow. I was a bow hunter. I had the whole camouflage suit. Again,
Okay.
folks, I'm not a country dude. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I know nothing about this lifestyle. Right? I bought corn. I
Yeah,
put corn on the property.
it
I
came
had some
together.
peanut. I had some peanut butter, man. I screwed it to the little tree and did all that stuff so the deer would come
Hey,
up and lick out. I tried it, and guess what? I
what?
couldn't stand it. I'm not a. I had to spray that deer antler spray on myself, man. I was sitting up in the
Man,
tree, and a bug he came on me. I almost fell out the tree. I was about 20 feet up in the air, bro. No, sir.
no
I'm
tree
not that
stand.
dude. Not
Yeah,
that dude, man.
you're not that guy, huh?
No, sir.
Well,
Not that guy.
well,
Not that guy.
I inherited from my grandparents,
Okay.
some land, and I've got uh three shooting houses, four,
Really?
yeah, I got three shooting houses, three green fields. I got a tractor,
Really?
and I do my green fields now, and I harvest three a year, and we eat that three will last me until the next season. We do
Man.
burger and sausage and cube steak, and we eat venison regularly
Man.
because of the health aspect of it. It's
Yes,
it's,
yes.
it's very low in fat. So you could eat a venison burger, and the fat content is completely half, less than half. My church is over in a rural area in Livingston, Alabama. So I
Okay.
had I had to find a way to identify with my guys. Well,
Okay.
all they do is hunt over there.
Okay.
So I got my gun, man. I got my camo and everything, and I got with one of the guys. Let me tell you, my first couple of trips hunting, man. Let me tell you what, I was sitting there drinking hot chocolate, and deer were walking by me. They were walking by me, and I had my chocolate in my hand and my gun sitting on the side. And so I quickly realized I couldn't sit in the cold shooting house and drink hot chocolate. I had to actually hunt. And
Yeah.
so that's been 8, 10 years ago, man. So now I'm a vet, man. I'm a vet, man. I got it going on, and it's a great hobby for me because it's an opportunity to kind of get away and really
Yeah.
kind of do some reflecting, do some thinking, man. And
Mhm.
so it's been good for me. But I know exactly what you're saying, man. I would have never got up in no tree. Oh no.
I tried, brother. I tried it. It just didn't. Once them bugs started crawling on me, I almost fell out the stand. I was like, that's it. I took every. I took it all. I took it all and gave it to an uncle at the time, and just like, yeah, we good. I don't. I don't.
You probably love
Uh,
that.
no, he did. He loved everything. He tried. I tried to do it with him a couple of times, but
Yeah,
guess what? That's the. We had Jim Rowe play
yeah,
ball with me back in the days, and Jim Rowe was the offensive tackle,
yeah,
and Jim Rowe was a country boy, and he taught. We'd go out to this range, probably about 20 miles outside of Auburn,
yeah,
and we shoot into this dirt hill. He had all the armory and everything like that, and I enjoyed that part. They
yeah.
tried to get me to do that, but I'm a Florida boy, man. Your venison is called City Grill out here. That's a steakhouse out here that we get to go to.
You go to, well, did you fish at all? Were you ever a fisherman? Did he?
My dad was a fisherman. He took us to the Keys all the time. He had 12, 15 reels in the house.
Yeah, I know
And
somebody.
I just, bro, I got a buddy out here, my business partner, Kevin Hill, his former military buddy, man, and he goes fishing all the time.
Yeah.
And every time I go with him, we catch nothing, zero fishes. Every time I don't go with them, they come back with a load. So I think it's me, and I'm like, bro, I'm not going. I'm not a
You
fisherman, bro.
bring the
Let me.
bad vibe. You bring the bad vibe on the ship.
I can't be that guy, bro. I like catching. I
Yeah.
don't want to go fishing. I like
Yeah.
catching. So if you got a lake that we can just throw and catch, you'll have me all day. But if I got to go out there and
Wait
move the
around.
boat from here, no, that's not my thing. I need activity, and you need to know that about yourself when you leave the game or leave the sport that you're doing. You need to know what makes you
You gotta
become the
find it.
better version of you. And as long as it's not out there drinking and
Yeah.
smoking and doing stupid stuff, cheating on your wife and doing stupid stuff that's going to cause you, mentally, emotionally, or just, going to mess up the name God gave you. You need to find something you can fall in love with. That's a true statement. Find something you can fall in love with that will bring the best version of you out. And that part will be that'll help you in your transition. And golf did that for me.
And it's out there. It may not be the same
It
thing as
really is.
somebody else, but there's something out there, man, for every single person to connect to that
No, it really is, brother.
can help them make that transition, man. And so, listen, I think this is a great place to stop it. Listen, Frank Sanders, Sandman, man, this has been a
Man.
wonderful, wonderful catch up, man. And do you ever see my man Manucci out there, Dan Manucci?
Yeah, I see Manuch. We talk every Monday, man. That's a blessing. I get to be on the show with those guys. They've moved over to ESPN,
Yeah.
and we talk every Monday between college to pros. Either way, we just we get to do it on the program that they have, man. It's been pretty good. And Manuch always speaks highly about you.
Yeah.
He wished like you. He wished at the timing when he got to Buffalo.
Yeah.
It was a plethora of quarterbacks, and he wished he had a better chance to kind of really stick his foot in the NFL like he wanted to.
Yeah, but his birthday and my birthday the same day, and we used to go out to have birthday dinner together. He was taking me to a place called Elio DiPaolo's, a really, really, really high-end Italian restaurant, man. And he used to be just a great friend, man. And so you make sure you tell him I said hello, okay?
Without a doubt, I always will, brother. Always will.
It's been a pleasure to be on the shoulder pad with Frank Sanders, and I always close out by saying this. Remember, everything is football, and it's always game time right here on the shoulder pad. You be blessed. And if it all falls down, we can put it back together again.